Yeah, so I'm here to understand this brave, volatile, and controversial lady, Swara Bhasker.
Oh no.
Welcome on SpotboyE.
I'm not volatile, Vicky ji. Come on, you know me for so long.
I know you, but whenever I read about you, whenever I see you on television, the quotes which you give, let's put it in the journalistic lingo, are really volatile. So I really want to get into your mind today and understand you. You know, let's take it right from the early days of school, not dwelling too much into it, or college. Were you always like this, speaking your mind in college against something you didn't like, or against a teacher who was maybe oppressive, or what was happening there? And in turn, what did your parents tell you?
Yeah, I think that a lot of I don't think I'm volatile. I think I tend to speak quite straightforwardly. I think part of that is also that the work I do involves, acting is basically, enacting is about making up, and it's about like lying. It's about, making up a lie and then representing that lie in as truthful a manner as possible. So I think because of my work involves so much make-believe and pretense and lies, that in my real life I've become like this completely, like, absolutely straightforward, maybe too honest person.
But you're missing that when you're in front of the camera.
Yeah, because then you're obviously playing a role. But I think that a lot of the, I would say, credit of what the person I am today goes to my parents, because we grew up in a very, very, my parents were, they're the most amazing people in the world. I think मैंने अपने पिछले जन्म में कुछ बहुत सही किया है कि मैं इन माँ बाप को पैदा हुई in this life. And my parents always encouraged my brother and me to sort of speak our mind, ask questions. They always, I remember every day when we came back from school, they'd be like, okay, now tell us everything that happened. So we tell them like everything, and then they'd be like, okay, now what did you think about this? So they really taught us to think for ourselves and to ask questions, to have debates. Like on dinner table, conversation was always a debate about what's happening, what do we think about that, what do they think about that. So I think I was very heavily influenced by that. And then, of course, I think I've been very blessed in the kind of teachers I've had. My mom is a teacher as well. Plus the kind of teachers I've had in school and in college. I've had a liberal arts education, so very much a tradition of, thinking rationally, critically, learning to question, but not just question others, but also question yourself. I think I'm as harsh on myself as I am on the outside world. So I think that then in college, I was part of a progressive theatre sort of a tradition as well. I was in IPTA. In JNU, we had a unit in IPTA. Then I went to Delhi University and JNU. So I think that I just come from a background where asking a question was not considered bad or wrong. Having an opinion was not considered wrong. Putting forth your opinion was not considered wrong. And the whole idea was to have a healthy discussion and to be able to understand everyone's point of view, to listen to other people's point of view. Because I think the basic, and this is something I think we all agree on, that just because something is your reality doesn't mean it's everyone's reality. And there should be space for everyone's reality to be represented. So that's basically my idea, and I think that that's what I try to kind of go with.
Did you get into trouble anywhere in your early days before you came into movies for saying something? And when you differ, people generally don't like it.
When I was in school and college, I came to Bombay as soon as I finished my exams, my MA exams, and I had landed up in Bombay. So nobody knew me then, nobody cared. But I was always a very, I remember even in school, I would question authority. Even then, I remember asking the principal some question. One time, some teacher wrongfully complained about me, and when the principal called me, and I said, no, I'm sorry, but that's not true what she's saying, and that's not what happened. And even if what's wrong with what happened, I was caught eating parathas on the terrace with some boy. So I was just like, what's wrong with that? It's just, I'm eating paratha, it's the lunch break. So I was very we would stand up for what we believed in. I remember that in one house where we lived, we had, the apartment we lived in had separate lift for officers, because my dad was in the armed forces, he was in the Navy, and a separate lift for the staff. And I was like, this is very wrong and this is unequal, and how can this? So then I took out a letter and I circulated it amongst all the families, and I was like, this is not right. So I always had that little bit of that krantikaari vibe even as a child.
So this morning before I started off, to come here, I read that you are probably going to campaign for AAP
No,
in Delhi.
no, no, I'm not.
That's not true.
That's not true. I think that they have had a very good experience with me in the Lok Sabha elections already. I don't think they want me anywhere around them. But I think that they've done a very good job in Delhi. They have done quite a tremendous job. I live and vote in Delhi, and I'm from Delhi, so I've followed kind of their work. I think that they've done a good job.
Can I say that you want them to win the Delhi election?
No, please don't say that. Because generally, when I want something, we've already seen how what turns out. So I don't want to cast any of my own predictions on this.
Not predictions. I mean, that's what.
I mean, you can say that.
I mean, you go and vote for a party ABC. That's what you want.
I'm
You want that party to win.
I'm a conscientious voter. I always make sure that whatever election I take a flight and go back to Delhi to vote. I'm very conscientious about my voting. मैं अपना वोट दे के आती हूँ.
Okay, so you're saying you're actually a rightful voter, and don't ask me that whom I'm voting
Yeah,
for.
don't ask me who I'm voting for. It's very evident.
Okay, so we are on this campaign, so-called campaign, which you're not doing.
Yeah.
But the burning topic is CAA, and
Yeah.
you have already raised
Yeah.
a lot of opinions on that. Now,
Yeah.
can you just tell us what is your state of mind today as we speak on that?
I mean, I think that the CAA is a hugely discriminatory law. I think that it's anti-constitutional. It's against the spirit of India. It's against the spirit of our constitution. And I think that along with the NRC and the NPR, it is a bureaucratic disaster for the people of India. And I think that the way in which this whole project of the CAA, NRC, NPR renders every single Indian vulnerable, I think it's unethical and it's immoral. Quite frankly, and I think that I have been very actively part of the protests, and I think that to me I'm so glad people are protesting, and I'm so glad people are standing up for their own rights. I'm so glad that people in India are standing up for the constitution. For the first time in 6 years, I have dared to hope that that India is full of good people who genuinely love our country.
Some of your Bollywood people, I mean, from your fraternity, have stood up and voiced almost as exactly what you are saying. But there's also one school of thought, and there have been many actresses and many actors also saying that our fraternity has not come fully forward.
Yeah.
And what is your take on that?
I mean, I think that I always say that, Bollywood is not a monolith. It is a industry that is made up of different individuals, and individuals will have their own opinions, which is fine. I mean, of course, it's India. I mean, we are the land of the argumentative Indian. We love differences of opinion. We love arguing, and that's fine. I think it's a free country still, and I think that everyone has the right to their opinion. So if there's somebody who disagrees with the CAA, with what is, for example, my position on the CAA,
or any other point,
then sure. I mean, if the opportunity occurs, then one can have a conversation with them and can talk to them and ask them what is the deal. But otherwise, go ahead. But I think that to me, Bollywood is not important in the sense that at this moment, I think this is a moment of.
You think it will not change the? I mean, whichever way it has to go, it will go. I mean, you mean to say that
I think the reverse happens.
The faces don't count in.
No, I think they count for sure. I mean, they bring their own credibility. They bring their own. Fans. They attract attention of their fans. They act as amplifiers. That's basically what all of us do. I think it's great. I think it was extremely brave of Deepika to lend her support to the JNU students. It was very, very courageous, and I salute her for that. I salute all the other people who have spoken out as well. But I think that what I've noticed is that Bollywood tends to, it's actually the reverse. When Bollywood realizes that, okay, there's a popular opinion, a wave of popular opinion, then people feel more emboldened to speak up. So I think that at this moment belongs to the students. This moment belongs to the protesters, the peacefully protesting citizens of India, to the women of Shaheen Bagh, to the women of the numerous Shaheen Baghs that have sprung up all over India. I think that this is really their moment for me.
So you're saying let's not digress, let's not make it trivial that why this one is not speaking, that one is not speaking.
Yeah, I mean, यार जो नहीं बोल रहे तो उन्हें छोड़ो ना, इतने लोग बोल रहे हैं, इतने मतलब लाखों लोग बोल रहे हैं इंडिया में. They're all on the streets. Let's talk about them. And of course, the Bollywood actors and the musicians, the lyricists, the other people who are lending their support, we thank them for their support.
Did you reach out to Deepika?
Yeah, I met her at the Chapak trailer. Yes, and the first thing I said, and a lot of JNU students had called me and said, please thank her, please thank her. So the first thing I told her was, thank you so much for going to JNU. And of course, the film was great and she was amazing in the film. So I complimented her for that. But my first thing was to thank her for what she had done.
Immediately, reports started flying that she's going to lose out on endorsements, she's going to probably lose out on some other work. What's your take on that? Because you are sailing in that boat much more prominently than what Deepika did right now. I'm not undermining her, please don't get me wrong.
No, of course.
But you have been vocal since the longest time. So has it affected you also? I mean, I'm putting a very blatant question here that after Veere De Wedding, we haven't seen you signing a film or coming out with an announcement or too much on commercials.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, firstly, but of course, let me clarify. I think that there is no comparison between Deepika and me, because Deepika is a way bigger star. I mean, I think I would arguably say that she's today India's biggest female star. And I think that any brand that drops Deepika would be foolish. I can't think of any. I mean, it would be the most unwise marketing decision on the part of the brand. You would make your brand seem weak and stupid, and and Deepika would only come out stronger even from that. So I don't think there's a question. I'd be shocked if a brand dropped her. I'd say they don't know their job as marketing people and as branding people. I hope that will not happen to Deepika at all. I think that she brings an insane amount of credibility and talent to whatever she's doing. And I can't imagine anyone would want to lose that over a difference in political opinion. And also, we don't know, a lot of people silently support us. They don't want to put their names forward. I've met so many people who always, when they see me, they're like, Swara, thank you so much. Thank you, we can't speak out, but you're doing it for us. And, we feel scared, but thank you for doing it for us. I cannot tell you the number of people, and even within the industry, who've said this to me at this moment. But you're right, like for me, it's a different case because I have been sort of speaking up for the last 6 years, basically. And the last year has been actually, it's been, I think that the what happened is not so much after Veere, but also after Veere. I think it's a lot of factors coming together, but I think that the campaigning in the Lok Sabha elections, for the 6 people that I campaigned for, a lot of them were controversial in their own ways, and a lot of them was me campaigning against the ruling party. And I think that kind of cost me a lot of work. Like immediately after I did Kanhaiya's campaign, I lost 3 events, 2 or 4 brands, like over two different things.
You were finalized for that?
Yeah, that finalized over that we were talking to, and 2 of those brands actually told us very openly that I'm sorry, but we don't want a politically affiliated actor. And I'm not actually politically affiliated because I'm definitely identifiable with a certain ideology of being, which is I think the ideology of our constitution, but anyway, that's a separate debate. So that happened, and I actually understand where the brands are coming from also. I mean, it's fine, I get it. Yes, 2018 and 19 have been very sort of controversy ridden in other ways also, whether it was the placard campaign, the Kathua placard campaign around Veere release, and then, but I feel like now, what do I do? Like even when I don't do anything, I'm in a controversy. If I don't say anything, that's a controversy. Something will happen in India and everyone's like,
now where is... If you put your head on the pillow, say tonight, or maybe yesterday, do you regret it? Sometimes, I'm asking you this question vis-a-vis the amount of work or the certain amount of work you lost.
The thing with the work is that I'm sure I lost work. I'm sure I lost a film.
Or rather let me put it this way. Do you think you should have been little mellowed down? You could have still raised your opinion and not be so much out in the open.
I mean, yeah, it's like saying that, but then I shouldn't have been Swara Bhasker. No, I should have been a different person. I mean, how much do you fight your own personality? I don't know how to do it beyond a point. I really do try very hard. Like this is the result of being quite balanced. And actually, I mean, it's very funny. I think as I said, what's happened with me is that it is true that I haven't signed another film after Veere yet, because I really didn't know how to match, like Nilbatte, Anarkali, Veere. I don't know how to top that. I want my next film to be better than those 3. I don't know how to do that. Like it's hard. Like how do I find that script? How do I find that role? Like sometimes you just end up maybe wanting to just wait. And then of course I've written 2 scripts, so I want to try and put those on the floor, which is proving to be like one saga project. So I think that trying to diversify has also kind of taken some time. And it's funny because I thought that people keep saying, oh my, but are you getting work? You're not getting work. And so I actually sat down and I made a list of all the work I've done in 2018 after V-Day and 2019. And I've been working pretty regularly. I've shot 2 web series, big ones. They haven't come out yet. So there's also, that's what I'm saying, that I think there's a lot of other factors, like those production houses or those platforms had their own calendar. So they are plotting their releases. So I think 2020 you'll be seeing a lot more of me than maybe anybody wants to.
The question to ask you here is, do you sometimes miss that, okay, I have not been cast as a lead heroine? And this is nothing to do with your outspokenness or in general, let's ask you that.
Well, I mean, I think that I look back on my 3 films.
I know the cinema has changed. I know. Maybe if that is your answer.
No, that's not mine. I just simply look back at my last 3 films, and they're Nilbate, Anarkali, and V-Day. So I had protagonist parts in all of those. I mean, Nilbate and Anarkali are solely my films. So I think that I also understand my journey. I'm not a star child. I'm not a Miss India. I did not have a launch. I am someone who's worked my way up from the character space. I've done smaller roles and bigger roles and bigger roles. So obviously, I mean, I know that journey, like, and I know my reality. So no, I mean, I think I've been actually quite blessed. Like I've done good work. I've always been part of like really blockbuster projects, and I have so much credibility. I think more than I deserve sometimes. I mean, look at this. I haven't had a release this year, but you're, one of Bollywood's top entertainment journalists is sitting and chatting with me, just about my life. So are you understanding? Like as a public personality, there's just, I somehow am still relevant to y'all. So I think that that's a very blessed place to be. And as far as work goes, because I feel like I'm always working, like I'm always shooting, I'm always doing something else, I'm doing another project. So I never feel like I'm not working somehow. I think it's...
Thank you for the compliment. But what I want to ask you here is also that when you are not cast opposite a lead actor, I mean, your work, does it decrease at the same time? Does it give lesser options in the industry outside?
No, I mean,
when they pick and choose, obviously.
I mean, the thing is that I think that the casting, the way it's done in our industry, it's also very... I don't think that it's not on the basis of talent always that you're casting. You're casting, on the basis of a whole variety of other factors like marketability and like, star value and like whatever. So I understand that game. So I don't find it like surprising that and
okay,
also
I'm not there in that. Okay,
that I'm not in that particular whatever. I mean, कल को मेरी कोई एक फिल्म आ जाएगी जो hit हो जाएगी, immediately वो बदल जाएगा. I mean, I've seen that, right? Like I've seen the kind of like how after certain releases you start getting more offers of certain kinds. I also know the kind of offers I've got, what I've steered away from, the traps I've tried not to fall into. So I understand how that mentality of the industry works. And I read it for what it is. Like I don't pay too much heed to it, because
you just mentioned Star Kids, and there I want to ask you, because do you subscribe to Kangana Ranaut's vociferous theory against nepotism?
Well, I mean, let's put it like this, that I think that there is no doubt, and I don't think anyone can deny, and I'm sure the star kids themselves don't deny, that being born to star parents gives you a certain kind of privileged access. I mean, there is nothing to deny in this. Privilege exists in our society. I have it in a different way in terms of the family I come from, where I'm born. They have it in terms of where they are born and the access that provides. There's no point denying that. But I think that the question of privilege and access, it doesn't take away from the fact that they may be very hardworking kids and hardworking people themselves. I mean, Sonam is a dear friend of mine. I know how hard Sonam works. Varun is someone I often see because of the gym. And I have seen how hard Varun Dhawan works. I mean, you cannot take away their hard work from them. You can't take away their talent from them. I think Ranbir Kapoor, Alia, Varun, these are all star children. They are amongst the most talented actors that we have in our industry today. So I don't think the question of being star children is about hard work, about talent, as people often make it out to seem. It's a question of privilege and a question of access. And I think in that sense, Kangana is absolutely right that star children get a kind of access and a privilege that people like us will not get. I mean, it's taken me 10 years to be sitting here today where I am. 10 years. I was, it's basically my whole 20s have gone in sort of working, struggling, trying to be here. It's taken Nawaz. I mean, I think nobody will argue with the fact that Nawaz is probably the most talented actor we have in our industry. It took him 16 years, 17 years.
He almost went back.
Yeah, so I think that is something that nobody can take away. That you can't take away from us, from people like us. Don't you can I mean, we can always have a debate, but you can't take away the fact that it's the uphill. That hill is like it's crazy to climb that hill for people like us. So I think that's a fair assessment.
I'm drawn to that word debate. These debates, you think, are happening anymore? Anywhere? I mean, the debates which we have, there are no more debates. They're turning into fights, they're turning into quarrels. And I'm not talking just about politics, I'm not talking just about even on any other stage, but it's in everyday life. Do you think the people you met 10 years ago, starting with your parents who encouraged you to give an opinion, and the people you meet now, is there a drastic change?
I mean, I think you're right. There is a big. I think as a culture, we're losing the capacity to listen. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the kind of technology we're surrounded with, our attention span is like, it's the span of an Instagram story, basically.
Yeah.
6 seconds, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Like we are, as a people, we are just becoming so disconnected from any kind of real communication and are constantly on our phones. I feel like I'm in a relationship with my phone. I'm dating my phone because the whole time I'm only in my phone. And so
the phone is one of the reasons why relationships are also breaking up.
Probably, I'm sure. So I think you're right. Like, I think as a culture we're not listening enough, but that's something that we should be able to work on. I mean, if we're aware of it, I think it's important to make those efforts to put that phone away and to actually be able to talk to someone.
Let's keep that phone away. I'm sure that phone was not responsible for your breakup.
No, it wasn't.
What led to it?
I mean, I think we disagreed on what the future should look like. Let's put it like that.
Your future involved marriage, his didn't.
Well, one of our futures wanted to involve marriage and one of our futures didn't want to involve marriage. So yeah.
Swara Bhasker is being politically correct for the first time.
See, this is the thing. I'm actually not volatile and I'm very polite and gharilu in my personal life as a person. It's just that in my politics, I really feel I have schizophrenia. Like, not medically, but like, I think that my life is schizophrenic. Because people see me and they're like, oh my God, this girl is like, wow, so fiery and outspoken and loud. And I'm actually like, I'm the most boring person in the world. I'm sitting in my house. I really have now begun to feel I'm actually very traditional. Like, मेरे को देख के लगता है कि वो ये क्लब में नाच रही होगी टेबलों पे, पर मैं तो घर पे बैठ के अपनी बिल्लियों के साथ खेल रही हूँ.
I heard you, but these cats are not going to make me.
They're not going to marry me.
Make me deviate from that question. You digress from it. Is Swara Bhasker being politically correct for the first time?
I mean, it's not about politically correct, Vicky ji. It's I mean, it is what it is. You can't. I don't want to say too much because it involves someone else and they have the right to their privacy. And what can I say? I mean, people change, and you can't. Ultimately, we only have control on ourselves. We don't have control on anyone else, not even the people who are closest to us, not even the people we are in love with, not even the people we are in very close intimate relationships with. And that is the reality of our lives, and it's something that I have now had to learn to accept. And so
there is a line which says many fabulous relationships are directionless.
Yeah. Is it my line?
Did it go with what was happening to you?
No, I think that.
I think you also said it somewhere.
Yeah, I
if
said.
I'm not wrong.
I once described.
Yeah,
I once said
somewhere.
that we are blissfully directionless.
Yeah, I think when you went with Himanshu to Italy for the, and somebody asked you when are you getting married, and you said no, it's fine, we are okay.
I think that. I mean, I think that everyone, like, sometimes you can have a disagreement in terms of what milestones you want in your life and what milestones the other person wants in their life. And I think that sometimes relationships come to a point. What are relationships, right? They're basically two people who agree to go. It's almost like they've agreed to go on a journey together and take a certain path together. Sometimes you come to a path where one person wants to go right and the other person wants to go left. And in that case, if one of the people, and there are only those two paths to go, and in that case, if one of those two people do not agree to change their path, then you don't have a choice. You're basically saying, all right, let's agree to say goodbye. And
so in that path where you found yourself lonely, who rallied around you?
Oh, I've been.
How did you come out of it?
Yeah, well, I've been very, very blessed in terms of my friends and my family. I mean, I've been. I think that I always say that I've done something very. I have some very good karma from my last life. For the parents I have, for my brother, for my sister-in-law, for my friends, my very close friends, and I hope Himanshu has the same kind of support system as well.
Okay. Work which you have signed in terms of web shows?
Two of them are waiting for announcements, so I can't talk much about them, but I'm shooting one currently, which is why we've had so much scheduling to do for this chat. But I have a very interesting show called Rasbhari, which is hopefully going to release this year, I think after April, the second quarter. I have an interesting show called Flesh, which is a show about human trafficking, where I play a cop. So it was the first time I played a cop and done like action, which was very exciting. And then there's the current one that I'm doing, which awaits an announcement. And I have these two scripts which I've written. So those
you want to produce those?
Yeah. So those and act in them
films,
also. Yeah. Hopefully. So that those are two projects that I'm actually very excited about, and I have to, like, one of those scripts I've been sitting on for the last 1 year. I have to finish that. So now, as soon as I finish shooting this sked of my show, I'm taking off. I'm going back to Delhi to just write. So.
But these things will continue to follow you, no matter how much you run away from them. I just want to ask you that the concluding question, that sometimes at least, does one of your parents call and say, "Okay, leave it," and
Yeah, all the time. All the time. Everyone's always telling me to leave it.
Why are you going on and on?
Yeah, all the time.
It's your
my parents
inner
are terrified
voice which
about
is coming
me.
out. I understand. It's your feelings which are coming out, but do they call up?
My parents are terrified. My mother and father just are existing in a state of constant fear and anxiety about me, my safety, what will happen. My brother is tearing his hair out with me all the time because he also manages me. And he's just like, what am I supposed to do with you? Like, he's the one who's always like, how do we, like, if you are like, you have got like an axe in your own hand and you're like chopping your own foot off. But I just feel that they're my parents, and of course they're worried. But I think that this is a moment that is far too critical to be silent. I can't do it. Like, it's too basic a question about India and about our fundamental character. And this is not the time for me to be silent. I'm not commenting on other people's choices. And I think that, I don't think that fear was ever a good emotion and a good basis to have taken any decision. If I had been fearful, I wouldn't have done Nil Bate Sannata. If I had been fearful, I wouldn't have done Anarkali. If I had been fearful, I wouldn't have done Veere Di Wedding. They were all high-risk projects. And it's just not the person I am. So I think that decisions have to come from conviction, decisions have to come from belief, decisions have to come from faith. And and of course being scared is natural. I feel scared all the time. But we have to learn to recognize it for what it is and then deal with it.
I bet there'll be lots more to talk to you when we meet next.
Thank you.
I think this also there's lots more still to talk to you, but we'll keep it for some other time. And thank you so much, Swara.
Thanks.
Thank you for being on SpotboyE.
Thank you.